Hello, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel and my Facebook group, Canadian Music in the 80s and 90s A. And I've got a special guest with me today. His name is Ed Sousa, and he puts on charity concerts. I believe it's for Ronald McDonald House in Mississauga at the Classic Bowl. And he's done this for how many years now?
It would have been eight consecutively, but unfortunately, we had to take 2 years off because of you know what. And
Yeah.
but now we're back on stage again, as they say.
And is this your first year back since the pandemic, or?
No, we were actually back in May of 2022, which was originally scheduled for 2020, and then we postponed
Right.
that one to 2021, and we had to postpone that one to 2022. And as I tell all my friends, I've had one root canal done, and rescheduling eight bands, not once, twice,
Right.
was a lot more painful than getting a root canal done.
I can
And
imagine.
yeah, I don't wish that upon anyone. But in the end, the bands were gracious enough to work with us. So it almost, we lost two, unfortunately, just because of again, certain things beyond both our controls, but we were able to replace them with equal caliber acts, which brought a lot of added value to the show, and the show went off without a hitch.
And when was the first show you did? You said it was about 8 years ago, and
Yeah, it would have been 8 years ago, which would have been 2015, I believe, around there.
mhm.
2015, 2016. And so we started off with just two bands one day. We started off with the Spoons and Honeymoon Suite, two of my favorite Canadian bands, one local, actually both local, one from Burlington, really close to our office, and one out of Niagara Falls. And it went really, really well. So I said, you know what, let's try to duplicate that. So I brought him back the second year, and
Mhm.
became just as successful. And then we branched off into adding another band, and then we branched off again, adding one more band, and then we branched off, adding another day, and now for 2023, it's 3 days,
3 days.
we probably have enough support to do it for an entire week. It's a lot of work, and so we're going to see how 3 days work out, and then we're going to reassess at its conclusion, and then we'll see what we'll do for 2024.
And these are charity shows. You do these for Ronald McDonald House, from what I've read.
Exactly. Yeah, we do it for Ron McDonald House, and like I said, I have a history with Ron McDonald House, as I think I told you previously. With, unfortunately, my nephew at the age of 12 got diagnosed with leukemia in 1987, and my sister
Mhm.
stayed at Ron McDonald House off and on until his passing, actual Halloween night, 1992, at the age of 17. And most people don't know what Ron McDonald House does, which is good, because that means that they never had to utilize their services.
Mhm.
But for families that unfortunately have sick children that have to, in some cases, fly from all over the country overseas, uh, uh, help, then they need a place to stay, and service that Ron McDonald House provides. And we want to support them as much as we can. And we're literally probably the largest supporter outside of McDonald's for Ronald McDonald House, not just in terms of a monetary
Mhm.
donation, but basically in terms of the publicity that we bring to the cause, which is really important, because you
Right.
can't donate to a charitable organization unless, first of all, you know what it does, and second of all, that you actually know that it exists. So for us, we try to bring again as much attention as possible, and with the help of all the bands that we've been fortunate to book for the event. So it's been a win-win for everybody, and the fans, which again are our greatest supporters. We wouldn't be able to do it unless people purchase tickets and attend it, or else it'd be kind of boring, just me and the bands. I would like it. I don't know if the bands would like
That would be kind of cool to get a private concert by all those bands, I guess.
it.
So you've been doing it at the Classic Bowl in Mississauga, correct? You're cutting out. You're-
Yeah, and people ask me that all the time. In the 80s, we went bowling, we went roller skating, we went to the movies. So I just thought that it was a perfect setting for music and a charitable cause.
Right.
because it gives it gives you the warm and fuzzies that you're helping out a great charity. You listen to great music. It takes you back to your youth.
Hmm.
So again, it becomes a situation that everybody enjoys and everybody keeps coming back. Quick story about the individuals that attend, because they're so paranoid about not getting tickets that before they tell their friends, they make sure they call to get their tickets, and then they tell their friends about the show. And it's happened in the past where their friends call, and unfortunately, we're sold out. And they say, "Yeah, but my friend just told me yesterday." I said, "Yeah, your friend's pretty smart. He gets his tickets or her tickets first, and then they tell you. They want to make sure they get theirs in hand before they let you know."
Right.
And so they become again part of our sales force. And last May, or for last May show, we sold tickets to 20 U.S. states in every province in Canada.
Oh, wow.
And for this year's show, we've already sold tickets to 13 states and 8 provinces. The last two, which are always stragglers, was the same thing last year.
Right.
Saskatchewan and PEI were the last 2 provinces to purchase tickets, but we're going to make sure that we get someone to attend from those 2 provinces. The last, I think, was the beginning of last week. We sold tickets to Kansas City, Missouri, and I always
Wow.
ask the Americans, "How do you hear about our shows?" Well, we follow you, and a lot of these bands don't come down south, so it gives us an opportunity to see the Canadian bands that we really enjoy. And since it's a weekend of it, and it's their long weekend, Memorial Day weekend, so they
Right.
usually come up and all 3 nights. So it's
Now,
for us, it's after the long weekend, so it's a perfect fit. We get all the local individuals to come by, and we get individuals that happen to have their long weekend in the U.S. They fly up as well.
now with a lineup like that, and obviously there's probably quite a demand for tickets, being as I don't know what the capacity would be at the setup at the bowling alley. Could you
We
do a
get
bigger venue if you wanted to?
We do, but I think for me personally, and I'm sure everyone that attends, it would just be another show, and I'm not
Yeah.
interested in doing quote unquote a show.
Right.
I'm more about doing experiences. The reason
Right.
that people really enjoy what we do is because it's an experience. You can purchase tickets to go see, let's say hypothetically, Honeymoon Suite, which has headlined our show again, would have been 8 years in a row. And they play at casinos, they play at a lot of concert halls. I mean, you can see Honeymoon Suite in any other setting. So for us and for me personally, it's about the experience, and people really enjoy coming out to the show, and that's why again the shows sell themselves.
There's a picture of them there. Can you see that?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. They've been
It's
great supporters of right from day one. They were actually the first phone call I made when I had the concept for the series, and right away they jumped on board. And according to the members, it's literally their favorite show to do every year, where you get the
awesome.
audience literally face to face with their fans. And so again, it's for people that haven't seen it, and I get asked it all the time. They always go, "How do you set it up?" And then they walk into the venue, they're like, "Wow."
Right.
It's a fairly expensive undertaking. Just to set up the stage alone is
Hmm.
it's an exorbitant cost. But again, because of the support that we get, we're able to do it, or else we wouldn't.
And you're obviously fans of these bands as well yourself. So
I have a simple rule of thumb, and it's very simple. I only book bands not that I like, that I love.
right.
So for me, the payoff is watching the bands perform. So if I were to hypothetically book a band that I wasn't necessarily a fan of, like there'd be no payoff at the end because you do
Right.
just as much. And then they take the stage, and then what do? You leave, And so for me, yeah, that's a simple rule of thumb. I really have to love the bands that I book. So those all the ones that you see are bands that I literally grew up with listening, and now have an opportunity to work closely with them.
No, it's a great lineup, and I like the fact that, well, I think the majority of what I've seen the bands have been Canadian as well.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I sprinkle in X number of international acts. Like this year, we have Information Society coming out. Originally, they're from Minneapolis, Minnesota. They moved to New York, and then I do. And the reason that we brought this year Strange Love, the Depeche Mode Experience. thing we did last year. So we brought Jesus that we brought. They replaced Do you have the one for this year, Alan?
Um, that's the one that I found that you sent me. Was this last
Yeah.
year's?
Yeah, this was May of 2022, but they can go in our Classical website and they can go into my own personal page and into the Classical's Facebook page. You'll see the this year's lineup, which includes on Thursday, May 25th, Strange Advance, Rough Trade, and Chalk Circle. On Friday night, we have Honeymoon Suite returning, Chilliwack, and Toronto. And then on Saturday night, we have Information Society, The Grapes of Wrath, and Strange Love, The Dave Fishmood Experience.
Wow, you have the Grapes of Wrath. That's amazing. That must have been hard to get them here because they're not.
Yeah, yeah, they're not. Originally, Kevin lived in Toronto, whereas Tom and Chris, the two brothers, live out west. But Kevin has subsequently moved to Little your neck of the woods, so he's in Halifax now, out on the
Oh,
East
wow.
Coast. And so it's a little more, it's a larger undertaking now. Every time you get flights involved and scheduling wise, but they're definitely coming on the Saturday night, which is a great sandwich where you have Strange Love that will open up the show, and then you have the Grapes of Wrath following them, and then Information Society closing out the night. So there'll be something for everybody on Saturday night.
And this has
So
gotten you your own bobblehead, I see.
yeah, I was approached by a company a couple of years ago that they wanted to do a bobblehead, and I said, well, as long as you don't make my head too big, I'm fine with it. And he goes, well,
Yeah,
hence the name bobblehead, right? So it's
right,
because I'm always on my phone. That's of course, my office and everybody's office 24/7. So I do a lot
right.
of business on my phone. So it just it was an easy sell on their part.
Now, is there any dream bands you'd like to get on this next year or the year after? Is there anyone on your
My
want?
dream, yeah, my dream band has always been Simple Minds. That's
Okay.
always been like at the top of my list. I actually told my wife, I said, for my next milestone birthday, that's what I would like. And she goes, "Oh, you don't ask for too much." I said, "No, I mean, Simple Minds shouldn't be that hard to get." And favorite band is the Flock of Seagulls that I've been fortunate to work with on numerous occasions, and they've been on our full concert a couple of times, and I booked them several other times for some of the other shows that we've done. But Simple Minds would be at the. I think I tell all my friends I would literally retire if I was fortunate enough to. So we have some contacts, some friends of a friend of a friend. That's how I get most of the artists that I book. It's from a personal relationship. We just had Steve Norman from Spano Ballet came for his only Canadian appearance. He worked
Oh,
with
wow.
me, so we flew him in at the end of November, and he did a show for me, and then he flew back to London, and we've done that with When in Rome.
Hmm.
Actually, Planet Crisis is coming. That's our next show, February 26th. We're flying him in from Liverpool. It's their only Canadian appearance.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they're coming in, and I brought them up, including last summer. I brought them up for two shows at the Alma Combo, and we did one for Ukraine Relief, which went really, really well. And I always try to do something different with our shows.
Hmm.
So what I did for that, because it was for Ukraine Relief, we auctioned off a song. So we had like a
Hmm.
process uh, during the uh, during the changeover, and people were bidding to go up on stage and sing with the band, and we raised a couple $1,000 just by doing that. So that went
Oh, it's
exceptionally.
amazing.
Yeah. So the end of the band was, all in. So we're fortunate enough that when we asked the band if they're able to, we never impose on any artist anything that we like them to do. Again, their stage is their office. So we always make sure that there's an understanding. If they're not comfortable with it, then don't do it. But again, we've been fortunate enough that all the bands have agreed to some of the asks that we've done, including China Crisis. Yeah, so
Sounds to me
they're
like you'd probably be interested in what I just bought recently.
wow.
I don't know if you've
When,
seen this yet. It's all music from John Hughes movies.
no, I haven't seen, but I've heard about it. I've
Yeah,
heard about it.
there's
You
four
started reading it?
discs. What's
You
that?
started reading? Have you started?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's an
Yeah.
amazing set. Like it's just, I mean, you've seen all the John Hughes movies, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been a fan of a lot of the music in his movies because he was quite good with, he was quite up to snuff on the music back then that he put
It,
in his
it,
movies.
it's ironic how when you look back, and some of the artists that again I work closely with today, some of them were a little hesitant to have their music in commercials or movies, or they were like they don't want to be known as sellouts. But now every artist that I know would give their right hand to have their song in a commercial, in a movie, anything to expose their their art form. If you notice now, I know a lot of, for whatever reason, it seems like a lot of financial institution commercials are
Hmm.
all about the 80s, like
Yeah.
Fidelity Investment. All I see is the fix, Depeche Mode, and on and on and on. Every time I turn around, it's like, oh, there's another 80 songs that
Hmm.
somebody sold to for one of their commercials. And as you know now, with the way that Spotify works and a lot of the streaming services, that there's no money in it for the artist. If they're not
No.
touring, there's no money to it. There's no, I mean, even though I still purchase my CDs, but the majority of people, it's not really practical anymore because most cars don't even have CD players.
Yeah.
And so the artists have to tour to generate any sort of income, or they have to sell, you know, the rights to their, in a sense, of their songs for commercials and TV and on and on and on. There's a big market for that. Whereas before in the 80s, they would never dream of doing
Well, I had a chat with Gord from the Spoons recently, and he's been playing with Flock of Seagulls, so I guess that's kind of a two-in-one deal you can get there with Gord being in the band. But he was saying he's on an 80s cruise, and all the guys were like, how do we get our songs in Stranger Things? Because that seemed to have really done a given Kate Bush a boost last year.
And I don't know if there's something to it, but now Kate Bush has just been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I don't know if she would have been nominated if
That
that
song, yeah.
wasn't, I mean, she's probably generated more revenue from since Stranger Things came out than maybe she's generated all the other time prior to that coming out. Corey Hart, the same thing. He had a
Hmm.
song on a lot of the artists that have a song. Unfortunately, I don't think that series is around anymore. I think I could be mistaken, but I think that series is done now.
But
The series
still,
is
the exposure that song got from that was just incredible.
I was with I booked Mid-Year quite a number of times as well.
Oh boy.
Just booked them. Actually, it was probably one of my quote unquote. I still can't believe it. We actually made it work. We have a great team uh, that work with us. The same night at the Elmo, we had Midge and ABC performing on two different stages at two different times. So the Elmo has two stages, a lower stage and an upper stage. So we had Mid-Year perform first, and after he was done, everyone that they're two separate tickets. Everyone that purchased a ticket for ABC, then they went upstairs to see ABC perform. So we had that on two consecutive nights,
Oh, it would have
and
been incredible.
it was I'm still pinching myself because that was one of those nights that you'll never forget. And the reason I bring that up is because Midge is a really good friend of Kate Bush, and he said the same thing. He's so happy for her because she goes, she's a great lady and she deserves all that she has coming her way. So he says that he was really happy for her.
So if you can see this picture, is this some of your team here?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. These are a lot of our volunteers that we've been fortunate uh, to have on our team, and I mean, they're the first ones in and the last ones out. So we started the Sousa group years ago, again in support of Ronald McDonald House, to have a lot of our shows and to bring, including the merchandise sales, so we could bring again more attention and more revenue streams to the charity. And if you can see on the
Oh, sorry.
bottom right, no, that's fine. If you can see on the bottom right, that's our other concert series that we do, which is our R&B sessions,
Hmm.
and that's literally one of the most successful series in North America. It's intimate, so we only permit 100 some odd people per show in our private lounge, which is this year sponsored by Heineken. And there's a Q&A component to the show. There's a meet and
Hmm.
greet for the show, so there's no, every ticket is literally a VIP ticket. We don't upcharge for anything.
Hmm.
And so the artist basically tells you the story about how they came about, how the song came about, The difference between our intimate shows and everybody else's intimate shows is that you actually get an opportunity to speak to the artist. So you can ask the
Right.
artist any question you want, and he or she will reply, and you get an opportunity then to meet the artist after the show. And we do that in. It's easier on an intimate setting when you permit 100 some odd people to attend. And ironically, you mentioned the Spoons. Yeah, they're performing with us on April 30th
Oh
to
wow.
do one of those intimate shows. We have, as part of our series this year, we started off with Boys Don't Cry out of
Oh
London.
boy.
Then we had Stephen Allman out of London. Then this past, actually a week ago today, we had Bill Henderson from Chilliwack.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Then the end of this month, February 26th, we have China Crisis. We do it the last Sunday of each month. Then at the end of March, we have Chalk Circle. And then we have the Spoons. And then our most successful show that we do as part of our intimate program is our secret show, which no one knows who the artist is until they physically walk on stage,
Oh,
which is
okay.
pretty. Yeah, it's so that's the one that people clamor to buy tickets for, but they don't know who the artist is. The only thing that I promise anyone that purchases one of those tickets is that
Hmm.
it's not a country and western band, nothing to do with
Okay.
country music. That's the only genre, unfortunately, that I mean people love it. I mean, I'm just not one of them.
Right.
But besides that, anything goes. Could be a rock band, could be a solo artist, could be
Hmm.
whatever. But except it won't be a country and western.
Now,
And that's 28.
have you thought about maybe taking it on the road for a couple of dates?
I thought of it. It's just a matter of finding someone with the same passion that's able to do the same thing because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And just for those sessions alone, I usually book the acts a year in advance.
Right.
And it's very tough for acts to commit a year in advance because they don't know where they're going to be.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, when you're asking acts to commit to a year in advance, and then they commit to a show hypothetically in Mississauga, and then they have a
Right.
show in Vancouver,
Right.
it just makes it difficult for them. So, but I'm willing to work with anyone across the country to parlay our success in that series with someone who's interested in doing it elsewhere, if they're willing to put in the work.
I'm just being selfish because I'd like to see something like that here in PEI where I live. That's why. I mean, we have Haywire here. I don't know if you'd be interested in getting those guys out to do something.
Yeah. Again, funny thing you mentioned that. This morning, I got a message from this lady who's a big supporter of ours, comes to a lot of shows, and
Hmm.
that's the band that she wants to see the most is Haywire.
Yep, they're still going strong. I see the guys around town once in a while here.
They just performed, I think, was it in? Yeah, in Oakville, which is our city right across the street, literally from where we're located. And they performed at the Kerfest. It's
Oh,
like
that was a great
little,
festival. Yeah.
yeah, they were there with actually, ironically enough, again, Chilliwack. Chilliwack was
Oh,
also there.
okay.
Yeah, so
Um,
yeah, they do a great job there every year.
I mean, in the spring, Summerside here in PEI is getting Kim Mitchell and Loverboy, which
Yeah.
would be a really good show. And I've seen both of them at Kerfest actually.
There's summer coming up. Say, how soon? How long ago did you move out to PI?
About 3 years ago. Um, I was born and
3 years
raised
ago.
in Mississauga. I spent most of my life there, but my dad's from here, so it's been it was a big move, but it was worth it. It's a different life, and it's just getting too expensive to live back in Ontario anymore. But
Yeah, not getting any cheaper every time you turn around. I mean, just the housing prices alone are astronomical. It's very, very difficult. So, and for us, as business operators, that's why if you look at our concert ticket prices, I mean, they're unheard of in terms of how low they are. And for our class shows, you can only purchase tickets through me,
right,
meaning that there's no service fees attached to any tickets. So when you see the ticket prices, let's say $55, that's all you pay is $55.
okay,
So because
yeah,
there's nothing worse than all of a sudden somebody tells you that something is worth $10 and you get a bill for like $30, right? So, and we know who the devil is within the music industry and ticket selling, and we're
right,
just not interested in any of that stuff. So for us, anybody it's a little more time consuming, but it also helps us find out about our customer base, what
right,
they're interested in, and I always know which act they want to see based on when they call what they state, which is, well, can I purchase tickets for the Cello show or for the
Right.
Honeymoon Suite show or for the Grapes of Wrath show? Because that's the artist that they're purchasing tickets for. So when we keep track of all that, then we know, wow, even though we had this band, but this other band was the one that we sold the most tickets because of this band. And that's
Right.
how we determine, in a sense, who comes back the following year. It's
Okay.
based on the demand that we've had for specific. Whereas if you're purchasing tickets through a ticket site, you have no idea why they're purchasing.
Hmm.
If you have multiple bands on a bill, you don't know who specifically they're purchasing tickets for. So the metrics that we do are, extremely concrete, that we know exactly who they're purchasing tickets
I may have to come home for that,
for.
for
Yeah,
some of those
and
shows.
yeah, it's like I said, make it a 4-day weekend because it starts on Thursday and it ends on Sunday night with a secret show. So, like I said, a lot of Americans, when they come up, they make an entire weekend of it because nobody's going to fly in for one show. So they come in and then, they see the sights and sounds of the city. And then in the evening, then they come and the weather's usually, we've been fortunate enough since we held it.
Right.
I can't remember what it was in the first year, but every subsequent year has been really, really good. Really nice weather. And because it's indoors, the show is going to go on unless, God forbid, there's like a power failure of some type.
Right.
But the show always goes on. And so whereas with outdoor shows, it's kind of hit and miss where, and I think was in Newfoundland, I think it was last year. I know Honeymoon
Hmm.
Suite were stating that they had a show there when I think is it George Street, their big stretch that they have in Newfoundland?
I
I think
think
it's
so.
George.
Yeah.
And they had a massive windstorm where literally the stage got blown right off.
Oh,
And so
wow.
the show had canceled. Yeah. So for us, it's always touch and go, and considering how delicate our weather is from one extreme to, from one day to the next, sunny one day, and all hell breaks loose the next day. So when it's indoors, I don't really have much to worry about.
What would the logistics be to maybe stream some of the shows online and charge for that, and maybe make money that way for the charity?
We've been thinking about that. So we're trying to work with a couple different companies to see the
Hmm.
feasibility of getting that done. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult. It's just a matter of making sure that the numbers, that there's enough demand, and I'm sure there would be across the country and even internationally for again, that's why the Americans come up to
Yeah.
see this show. So it's something that we're definitely looking at, and again, it builds on to what we've already established. So we already got a brand
Hmm.
among the act, amongst the music community. So again, it's just something else to upsell on. That for people that can't attend the show for whatever reason, they can watch from the comfort of their own.
And do you have the support of media, or radio, or television, or
Oh
anything
yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
Boom. I'm sure from living in Mississauga. Boom 97.3.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is really going with #1 with May Potts and KJ. Yeah, they're great supporters of ours. So we have, and the local, of course, the Mississauga News and
Hmm.
the city's a great supporter of ours. So we've been fortunate enough. Yeah, we haven't had a lack of support. That's one of the reasons that why we can do what we do is because of the support that we have from the local community, from sponsors, from media. So we're fortunate enough that we've held that literally from day one. And again, with and having the charity, it's it's a win-win. There's
It's a great cause. It's a great cause.
and it's something that everybody wants to be involved in. If we have an issue, which is a great issue to have, is we have a lot of people that want to be involved with it, so we can't accommodate everyone that wants to be involved with it, which
Right.
is a great problem to have. It's almost like having more tickets to sell. Once we reach a max, once we reach capacity, we can't sell any more tickets. And
Right.
so one of the ways that we got around that was by adding more days.
Okay. Oh, it's good. It's great that you expanded to 3 days. Like, it's amazing. Like,
Yeah, it's literally the largest because it's outdoor festival. There's a lot of outdoor festivals. You don't see anything indoors that's being held over 3 days town or a couple of bands, and then they move on to the next city. But for us to have 3 consecutive days is it's really unheard of
right.
in the country.
So one more time, give us the dates and how they can get tickets for this.
Yes. So on Thursday night, which is Thursday, May 25th, we have Strange Advance, Rough Trade, and that's a full Rough Trade with Carol Pope, Kevin Staples, the whole band, and
Wow.
Chalk Circle. Then on Friday night, we have Honeymoon Suite for WAC in Toronto. And then on Saturday night, May 27th, we have Information Society, The Grapes of Wrath, and Strange Love, the Depeche Mode Experience. So you can't purchase tickets online. What you can do is go on classicgold.com, click on the McBowl page, and there's a request ticket form that you fill out, and then you'll be contacted to actually make your purchase. And that's why we do it that way again, so you don't have to pay service fees. So then you get contacted, and then they're customized tickets. So there's no emails, there's nothing of that nature. They're keepsakes, individually numbered. So you have an opportunity years later to know that you attended one of these McBowl shows and you had number, ticket number 10 or ticket number 100, ticket number 200. So they're individually numbered. VIP component to the show, which allows, closer to the stage, you get a McBowl prize gift, you get a customized VIP pass, which again are really, really nicely done, really good keepsakes. And
Amazing.
then our other series that we have, as I mentioned earlier, it's our Rock and Roll Sessions, which started off in October with Boys Don't Cry, and then Steve Norman from Spano Ballet. We just had Bill Henderson. Now we have at the end of this month China Crisis. Then Chalk Circle does an intimate show. Then the Spoons, April 30th, and then our secret show is the last one of the series, which is May 28th. So after we're through with McBowl, then on May 28th, then the ones that are fortunate enough to have tickets for the secret show, they're more than welcome to stay over and to enjoy the intimate session with an artist that they don't know who it's going to be until they physically walk on stage. And
Awesome.
to request tickets for those shows, same process as McBowl. There's a Rock and Roll link. You click on it and you send your request.
Amazing. Thanks for coming on and talking about this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, like I'm really I don't know where I'm going to go with what I'm doing. I'm doing it just for fun. And when I saw what you were doing, I was like, oh, this fits right in. I don't know. I honestly don't know how many people are going to see it. I'm trying to build this up a bit. But
what? Here's what I tell people all the time. Everything starts with one.
Yep.
When I started our concert series, I was just hoping that maybe I would get a handful of people to attend. I didn't know what it was going to be like.
Right.
And then due to its success, then all of a sudden it grew. Then it grew again. Now it grew again. Now it's grown again beyond my wildest expectations. But you know what? You never know. The only thing that you would be promised not to succeed is if you at least didn't do it.
Right.
That would be a guaranteed failure if you didn't do it. So this way, you've already started. And like I said, if you get one individual to watch it, is one more individuals than you've had if you didn't do it.
Well, I love doing it. I'm going to do it just for fun anyway. If it gets somewhere, great. If it doesn't, I'm not too concerned about it. But I mean, I've already talked to some people that I really admire and never thought I'd ever get a chance to talk to. So
I totally understand where you're coming from. Like I said, when I again booked these acts, because I really, really love the work that they've done, and they were very instrumental in my upbringing in terms of musical taste. And now to have an opportunity to work with them, it's
right.
I never thought back in the 80s when I was literally purchasing a ticket and it was the least expensive ticket because that's all I could afford. And now all of a sudden to be in a position where, most of them are really good friends of mine. Yeah. I never thought that would have ever happened. So, just keep doing what you're doing, and you never know what can happen.
Absolutely. Again, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. You're welcome to push anything you want on my Facebook page. And if you want to come up and chat about anything else you got coming up, feel free to contact me and you're in.
No problem. Thanks, Alan.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.